give the boy the PIN number. You obviously know the PIN number for both of those cards because you use them all the time. So, but let's say about the next week or so, she calls me on the phone after she had her surgery. And she told me, you know, I'm just not able to get up and move about. Do you mind if I come back there and I sit with him until, so you could go to the store, to the grocery store and pick up the things that he needs? And I was like, sure, no problem. You know, because I was there to help him, you know, and I'm a very, very loving and caring person. I don't mind helping people. But don't try to take advantage of me. When you take advantage of me, that's when the crazy comes out. But anyway, I said yeah, and she came back there because, you know, our house wasn't too far from where Carrie's trailer was. Y'all gonna have to forgive me, but I normally don't say names, but that one just slipped out, and I'm not editing this video. But anyway, she lived not too far, because like I say, they lived on 10 acres. They bought this old raggedy trailer, put it on his property. Her house was at the front of the property, and his was diagonal from hers. So it wasn't that long of a walk. But anyway. She came back there and I went to the grocery store. So that's when I started noticing how much money he was getting in food stamps every month. Now, at first when she asked me this, I was sort of hesitant about it because going to the grocery store, buying things with a food stamp card, I didn't want nobody to think that, you know, this stuff was for me and that I was on food stamps or whatever. You know, because I've always been able to take care of myself. There have been times I worked 2 and 3 jobs, you know, to stay independent. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not looking for no handouts. That's not me. But these people, on the other hand, they didn't see nothing wrong with it. But anyway, every other week when it was time for me to go grocery shopping for him, she would tell me, oh, you got to buy something first to see how much is on the card. So that's how I found out that this guy was getting $300 a month in food stamps. But she would tell me this every other week when I would go grocery shopping for him to buy something first. And I was thinking to myself, okay, you only want me to buy oatmeal and TV dinners. And every other week, it would come up to $80. That's how much his grocery bill would come up for 2 weeks. $80. I mean, $40. Sorry, $40 every 2 weeks. She would send me to the grocery store for him. So he's not spending any more than $80 of this $300 and some dollars. $300 what he's getting every month. So there should be tons of money on this card. No. Sometimes there was nothing left on that card. And I was like, where's this money? That's when it dawned on me. They were using his food stamp card to buy their own groceries. Miss Pentecostal. So religious. Stealing from an underprivileged person. It gets worse, y'all. This story really gets worse. You know, this is hard for me. I'm sharing it because I know that there's other people out there that have been in situations like this, and all the warning signs to get away from these people. Get away from them. They were there. I didn't listen. In another video, I told her that I was brought up in a Christian home, and I was taught not to judge people, not to pass judgment. And these are nice Christian people too. My mom and dad would never try to take advantage of anyone. So I grew up very naive about a lot of things. and this is one of them. So, moving right along. Now, I had recently bought a new car when I was working there. And when I first got it, I came driving up there, and she come running out there, and she was like, "So what is this?" I said, "I got my new car." And she was like, "Oh, how nice." Do you know this woman had the audacity to say to me, cars like this, which it was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Those cars are not very expensive at all. I mean, it's a nice car, but I mean, it's not drastically expensive. It's not like a Ferrari or something like that. But anyway, she had the audacity to say to me, cars like this are very expensive. How did you get your payments down? How did you get your payments low enough on a car like this? Which I was trying to spare her feelings, so I just pretend that I did not hear her. Because that was really none of her business. My financial business is really none of her business. So then she called my name. She said, "Tomas, I asked you a question." And that's when I proceeded to go off. I said, you know, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to provide care. My financial business is none of your business. She got quiet and put her head down. And that really disturbed me, that she would be so concerned about my business, and I was just so confused about why in the world would she ask me something like that. Because the bitch money hungry, that's why. All of them money hungry. All of her children, her husband, all of them money hungry. Money hungry. So, a couple of days passed, and I was on the phone talking to one of my friends, and I was telling him about my job. And I started describing, you know, the family and stuff like that and where they live. And he, you know, and this is an older guy. And he said, "Oh my God, you working over there?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I know those people exactly. I know his twin brother." Oh! He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, that guy came to work for me." Because this guy here, like I said, he's an older guy. He used to own he was the first black guy to own a grocery store in this area. And I'm not going to get too much in that. I'm going to see if I can get him to come on video and to tell all what he went through on opening his grocery store. But anyway, the guy, he owns another business now. I'm not going to say what it is, but he said his twin brother came to work for me. And this guy, he has some mental issues in himself, developmental issues. But he said the guy came to work for him, and we used to always talk about his twin brother, who his mom gave up at birth, and he had been looking for him, and blah blah blah, and this and that. And he said that he went to the people that adopted him, who adopted his twin brother years ago, but he said they lived somewhere out here in this area, and he was describing the house. So one day my friend and the guy, twin brother, they got into the car and they started riding, and when they passed the house, they said, "That's it, that's the house." So my friend brought him back there to see to see if his brother was still living there, and sure enough. Now, this was years ago before I started working back there. And my friend said when he walked in there, he had to turn back around and go sit in his car and wait. The living conditions were just that horrible. When I started working with the guy, I guess they had sort of tried to fix the trailer up some, but how he described it to me, it was much worse. And he said his heart was just aching to see someone in a wheelchair. There's a guy sitting there with this big head and this little bitty body, sitting there just hollering, because that's what the guy used to do. He used to just shake in his chair and just holler, la, all the time. He used to hit himself. And then another thing he liked to do is take his shirt and put it in his mouth and chew on it, and his shirt would just be soaked in saliva. So the lady started telling us to tie his hands down to the chair. I would never do it. She would come back there, tie his hands down, because I knew that was against, it's against the law to restrict them, you know. But she would say, do it anyway. As soon as she would leave, I would go ahead and I would take the straps off of him, because, you know, it's just not right. You know, if he wants to grab his shirt and chew on it, good, that's fine. We would just change the shirt, you know, once it became soaked in saliva. But he began telling me about what all his brothers said. Say, yeah, these people have had several foster children, and all these four-wheelers and boats and cars and trucks, they bought this stuff with their money, neglecting them, treating them like shit. And he went on to say that at one time they tried to, I think his foster brother was, well, his twin brother was living on that property. He was living in the camper that was next to his trailer at one point. But they tried to get a check for him, but he does have some developmental issues, but he's not stupid. And he knew what those people were trying to do to him, and he got out of there. He wouldn't let them do it. And he said he wished he could have brought his brother with him. But this guy had so many issues. He couldn't, well, one of them was he couldn't stay in and out of, well, he was in and out of jail constantly. And for that reason, the state wouldn't allow him to take him. But anyway, at one point, things had gotten so bad back there with them trying to keep workers. So I was working 7 days a week, 16-hour shifts. To get a break, I had asked one of my other friends to come. Would he help out 2 days a week? That'll at least give me some time off. And he said, yeah. But something happened. He wound up quitting or something because he had another job. He worked at a behavior hospital. And they just couldn't keep nobody. So I just had to put my foot down with that agency. And I told them that, you know, I'm going to have to have my 2 days off, because at the time I was going to school. Even though it was online school, and if you ever took any classes or courses or anything online, you know, some of those courses can be very demanding. I needed more time.